Hey everybody, I'm gonna be making some delicious, crispy shredded beef tacos or tacos de carne deshebrada de res. Now, if you're gonna be getting together with family or friends to celebrate the New Year's, then this dish is for you. It is super easy to put together, it goes a long way, and it's absolutely delicious. And today, I'm gonna show you how to make it step by step. Let's get started. I'm gonna be using a beef pot roast. Now, the reason I like to use a beef pot roast is because it's beautifully marbled, and when cooked low and slow, it'll just be falling apart tender. But you can use any kind of meat that you want. Now, I'm gonna be cutting this into pieces, and I'm gonna remove some of the excess fat that it's got. You can leave some on because that's what's gonna give it a delicious flavor, but you don't want so much in there that it'll be super greasy. If you see some excess fat like this, you can just cut that off. And you do want to cut them up into pieces where it'll be easy for you to shred, okay? Now, as you can see, I have cut it up into pieces like this, and I have removed a lot of that excess fat. Now we can take this to the stove. So I'm going to be using this Dutch oven, and I've got my heat set on high. So I'm going to add my meat into my pot like this, see? And I'm gonna add a piece of onion. And I have 3 garlic cloves that I have mashed really well so they can release their flavor into the broth. And I've got 2 bay leaves right here, see? I've got some beef bouillon. I'm gonna add it in here. That's optional if you don't wanna use it. I'm gonna put in some salt, some pepper, and I've got 3 guajillo chiles right here, see? I'm gonna put them in there. Now, once they get nice and soft, I will take them out with some of the broth, and I'm gonna let them set right here on the side until I'm ready to use them. I'm gonna add my water, see, just like that. Now, you just wanna add enough water until it covers the meat. See, just like that. Now, as soon as it comes up to a boil, I'm gonna remove all the protein that's gonna form up here on top. And I'm gonna lower my temperature to low. And I'm gonna let it cook for about 2 hours to 2 hours and 15 minutes, or until my meat is falling apart tender. So I'm gonna replace my lid until it comes up to a boil. Now, as you can see, the water has started to boil. So I'm gonna lower the temperature to low. And I'm gonna remove all this protein that's forming up here at the top. Now, you always wanna remove this protein because it'll make your broth real murky. And we don't need all this protein in here, see? And we're gonna continue doing it until our broth is real nice and clear. Now, don't forget to remove your guajillo chiles from here once they get nice and soft. You can just take them out with a little bit of broth and let them sit there on the side until you're ready to use them. You need to add a little bit of water in here after a while. You can add a little bit more water, but you always want to make sure that your meat is submerged underwater as it cooks. I'm going to turn off my stove because it's been exactly 2 hours and 15 minutes. And I just checked my meat and it's perfect. Very tender. See? Look at this. So I'm going to remove it out of my Dutch oven. And I think I've got it all. Now, as you can see, I've got my guajillo chiles here. They're nice and soft, and they've been sitting there for a while, and they're ready to go. So now that I have my meat out of my Dutch oven, we're ready to shred it. Now, the best time to shred your meat, I think, is when it's still nice and hot, because it just shreds real easy like that. Now, you want it shredded really well. I usually shred it like this with my claws, and then I finish it with 2 forks. But you can do it any way that works for you. So I'm done shredding all my meat. And I even went at it with a knife and just gave it a quick chop. And as you can see, it's just perfect. So I'm gonna put it into this bowl. I'm gonna clean up my area. And then we're gonna go to the stove because I need to make the sauce that's gonna go with it. That I have my meat nice and shredded, I'm gonna start making my sauce. I'm gonna add a little bit of vegetable oil in here. just like that. And I'm gonna add my onions. Now, as you know, when the meat cooked, it cooked with salt and garlic and onions. So there's not any more than just that. And this is where it's all at, in this sauce that I'm gonna make for you. Because it's very important that the meat have very good flavor. Otherwise, it'll be very bland. So I'm just gonna saute my onions like this until they get real nice and translucent. And while my onions are sauteing in my pot, I'm gonna grind my spices. I've got some cumin and I've got some peppercorns right here. As you can see, I'm gonna add them into my molcajete. And I've got some oregano. I've got 2 garlic cloves. And I have 3 whole allspice. See, these are gonna give this sauce a fantastic flavor. So I'm gonna grind my spices. I like to use fresh spices. I think you know that. But if you wanna use a powdered form, you can. So I have my spices nice and ground, as you can see. I'm gonna add a little bit of water. About 1/2 cup. I'm just gonna move it around like this. So I'm gonna let my spices sit there for just a little bit. I'm gonna add my tomatoes. See? And I'm gonna add my spices. I'm gonna add just a little bit more water because we wanna get everything out of the molcajete. Just like that. See? So now that I've added my spices, I'm gonna add my onion powder. And I'm gonna stir it around like this, and I'm gonna wait until my tomatoes get nice and mushy. And while that happens, I'm gonna blend my chile guajillos. See, they've been sitting here for a while, and they're nice and soft. I think we got it all. And I'm gonna add some cilantro in here. And I'm gonna add some of the broth. This was the meat broth. Like that. See? Now I'm gonna blend it really well. And that's good. As you can see, it's all nice and blended. You really can't see the cilantro at all, but the flavor is there, and that's what counts. So as you can see, my tomatoes are nice and mushy, just the way I wanted them to, see? So now I'm gonna add my guajillo chiles and my cilantro. So now that I've added my chicken bouillon tomato flavored, you wanna go ahead and taste it, and you wanna adjust it according to the way you like it. Be very careful with the salt, because the chicken bouillon tomato flavor has salt in it. I'm gonna replace my lid, and I'm gonna let it simmer on low for about 10 minutes before we go to the next step. See, it's been simmering on low. So now that it's been simmering on low for 10 minutes, I'm ready to add all my meat into the pot. And I'm gonna bring it all in together like this. You see, you don't want it really soupy because it is gonna be going into your tacos. And if it's real soupy, then it'll all be coming out and you'll have a mess and get it all over your clothes and things like that. But if yours, for some reason, comes out a little too dry, you can always add just a little bit of your beef broth. That's why I've got it sitting right here, but I'm not gonna need it. But if you do, this would be a good time for you to add some if you think you need it. So I'm gonna go ahead and taste it. Taste. Oh my gosh, it is absolutely perfect. I'm gonna lower my temperature all the way down to low. And I'm gonna let it simmer like this for about 10 minutes because I want all the flavors to come in together with the meat. And then we'll put our tacos together. So it's been 10 minutes. I'm gonna turn off the heat. All the flavors have come in together. So now I'm gonna remove it off the heat. I'm gonna get my tortillas so we can start making our tacos. My heat is set on about medium. And I'm gonna be using this non-stick skillet. And I have half a cup of canola oil in here, as you can see. And it's nice and hot. Now I warmed up my tortillas in the microwave for just a few seconds so they can be real soft and pliable. I'm gonna get them out of the bag, as you can see. And I've got my meat right here, and it's ready. See? And I'm gonna be using this rack. See? And I've got some paper towels underneath because I don't want the tacos directly on the paper towels because then they get soggy. So I'm gonna put them on this rack. And I'm gonna start by filling my tacos. So I've got my soft tortilla like this, and I'm gonna put in about a tablespoon of meat in here. You don't wanna put a lot of meat in here because then it'll come out. So you wanna stay away from the edge. Then you wanna close it up like this, see? And I'm gonna put it directly in hot oil, just like that. Now you don't want it so high that you will burn your tacos. So be adjusting your heat to where it's nice and hot, but not burning. See, and here's another one. And we're gonna give them a couple of minutes before we flip them over. See, just like that. So it's been about 3 minutes. See? Now we want to flip them over to the other side. Now if you're thinking, well, that looks kind of greasy. Yeah, but they're so delicious. And I look at it this way. If you can eat fried chicken, then you can have fried tacos too. And we all have fried chicken now and then, right? Same thing goes for the tacos. So I'm going to give these about 2 minutes before I take them out. So it's been about 2.5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and remove them. Put them right here on my rack. They're nice and crispy. And I'm going to repeat the process. So I've got all my ingredients ready to put our tacos together, and they're gonna be super delicious. So I've got some shredded cabbage right here. See, now you can use lettuce if you want, but the cabbage just has its own flavor that the lettuce doesn't have. That's why I like it, but you can do whatever you want. And I've got some freshly grated Colby Jack cheese. You can use any cheese that you want. And then I have some tomato slices and some red onions. I've got some Cotija cheese, see? And I've got my freshly made salsa taquera. Now this salsa right here is made with chile de árbol, and it's nice and hot, and it's perfect for these tacos. I'm gonna have a video on it pretty soon. Now here are my tacos right here. So now we're gonna put them together. So nice and hot. So I'm gonna put my cabbage in here, just like this. See? Some of the grated cheese. Some tomato slices. I like to cut them in like little moons like this so they'll fit in the taco. And then I'm gonna put some of my Cotija cheese, like this. I'm gonna put some of my purple onions on top. I just love the onions on here. See? It's like that. And some of my salsa. Plenty of it because it's so good. See? So we've got one. Here's some of our cabbage. Some of our cheese. You can do it in any order that you want. It's our tomato. Our onions. Our Cotija cheese. Then the salsa. If you're gonna be serving tacos like these New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, you can prepare your meat inside and then you can take it outside if you're gonna be celebrating outside, and you can just put them together out there, which I think is a lot of fun, especially when you have friends and you have family over, and there's kids running around, and, you can prepare your meat and have all your ingredients ready. And then you just take everything out and you can serve it buffet style. I think that's a lot of fun. And here they are. Look at that. Now I'm going to show you how I like to eat them. So I've got my arroz blanco mexicano that I made earlier today. And I've got some refried beans. Delicious. So I'm going to get 2 of my tacos. See? Now for the taste test. I can't wait. Oh, man. The flavor of the corn tortilla shell. With the meat and the cheese. Oh man, this is so delicious. I can't tell you enough. I was going to show you. This is what we have left over of the meat, which is a lot. So this was 2.5 pounds. You can make lots of tacos. Look at all the tacos I have here. It freezes beautifully. So later you can thaw it out and make some quesatacos or anything you want, or more of these. So these are my delicious, crispy, shredded beef tacos. My tacos de carne deshebrada de res. If you like my video, give me a thumbs up. Send me a comment and tell me what you think. Thank you.